The intricate tapestry of the British monarchy has always been woven with threads of public duty, private sacrifice, and deeply personal conflicts that play out on a global stage. For centuries, the walls of Buckingham Palace and Windsor Castle have shielded the private lives of the royal family from the prying eyes of the world. Yet the fascination with their internal dynamics remains stronger than ever. In recent years, this fascination has shifted from the grand pageantry of state occasions to a much more poignant and intimate narrative involving a family divided by geography, ideology, and years of unspoken grievances. It is a story that has captured the imagination of millions around the globe as observers try to decode the subtle shifts in relationships that once seemed unbreakable. The bonds between brothers, fathers, and sons are universal, but when those bonds are stretched across an ocean and subjected to the intense scrutiny of the international media, the cracks can become canyons. The world has watched as alliances have shifted, traditions have been questioned, and the very definition of loyalty has been re-examined within the context of the modern world. Every public appearance, every carefully worded press release, and every notable absence from a family gathering becomes a piece of a larger, highly complex puzzle that the public eagerly tries to solve. To truly understand the current state of affairs, one must look beyond the sensational headlines and delve into the long shared history of an institution that has survived for over a millennium by adapting to change, even when that change comes at a tremendous personal cost to its members. The legacy of the House of Windsor is one of resilience, but the emotional toll on the individuals who carry that legacy is often immense, leading to decisions that reverberate far beyond the borders of the United Kingdom. As we explore the latest developments in this unfolding saga, we invite you to become a part of our community by subscribing to our channel and turning on notifications, ensuring you never miss a chapter in this riveting exploration of contemporary history. The deep-seated tensions that currently define the royal landscape did not appear overnight, but are rather the result of a long accumulation of events, choices, and misunderstandings that have gradually eroded the foundation of trust. For decades, the public persona of the royal family was one of unified stability, a collective front designed to project continuity and strength to the nation and the world. However, beneath the surface of this flawless exterior, the natural human complexities of family life were always present, waiting for a catalyst to bring them to light. The departures, the revelations, and the subsequent media storms have all contributed to a climate of cautious hesitation, where every move toward reconciliation is weighed against the potential for further misunderstanding. This delicate balance of power, emotion, and tradition forms the backdrop of a new and pressing chapter that is currently developing behind closed doors. Rumors and counter-rumors swirl through the corridors of power, creating an atmosphere of intense anticipation as the world waits to see how the next series of events will unfold. The stakes are incredibly high, involving not just the personal happiness of individuals, but also the public perception of an institution that relies heavily on its symbolic moral authority. As summer approaches, whispers of a potential homecoming have begun to circulate, sparking intense debate among royal commentators and the public alike about what this could mean for the future of the family. A return to the homeland is never a simple matter for those who have chosen a different path, especially when that path has led them to establish a completely new life on a different continent. The contrast between the sun-drenched hills of California and the historic, rain-swept estates of Great Britain mirrors the psychological distance that has grown between those who left and those who remained. It is a distance filled with unresolved questions, unmet expectations, and a profound sense of what might have been if choices had been made differently. Yet, despite the coldness that has characterized recent years, the gravitational pull of family and heritage remains incredibly powerful, drawing individuals back toward the center of their shared universe. The motivation for such a journey is rarely singular. It is often a complex mixture of professional obligations, personal desires, and a sudden, acute awareness of the passage of time. In the grand halls of power, plans are being drawn up, schedules are being coordinated, and the logistical challenges of a major international visit are being quietly addressed. The anticipation surrounding this potential visit is palpable, as it represents the first major opportunity in years for a significant realignment of personal dynamics. Observers are closely watching for any sign of a thaw in the frosty relations that have defined the family's public interactions for so long. The possibility of a reunion, no matter how brief or formal, carries with it the potential for immense emotional weight and historical significance. It raises questions about the capacity for forgiveness within an institution that is often seen as rigid and uncompromising, bound by centuries of protocol and precedent. The narrative is further complicated by the inclusion of a new generation. Young children who have grown up far removed from the traditions and expectations of their ancestral home. For these children, the United Kingdom is not a place of daily reality or royal duty, but a distant land of stories, photographs, and historical legacy. The desire to introduce them to their heritage and to the elder members of their family is a powerful driving force, one that introduces a deeply human and relatable element into an otherwise grand and distant story. This upcoming period promises to be a crucial test of the family's ability to navigate the complex waters of personal emotion and public duty as the eyes of the world turn once again to London. The preparations for the events ahead are taking place against a backdrop of ongoing legal and administrative discussions, highlighting the unique challenges faced by those who exist at the intersection of private life and public symbolism. The intersection of security, status, and family loyalty forms a complex web that must be carefully unraveled before any progress can be made. As the days tick closer to the projected dates, the sense of urgency grows, with both sides of the Atlantic watching the developments with a mixture of hope and skepticism. The unfolding events will undoubtedly provide fresh insights into the enduring power of royal tradition and the personal sacrifices required to maintain it in the 21st century. The upcoming visit of Prince Harry to the United Kingdom, scheduled for July to promote the highly anticipated Invictus Games in Birmingham, has set the stage for an intense domestic and international media spectacle. This trip, designed to celebrate the incredible resilience of wounded veterans, has quickly become secondary to the profound personal drama enveloping the House of Windsor. Sources close to the situation reveal that the Duke of Sussex desperately hopes to bring his wife, Meghan Markle, and their two children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, with him across the Atlantic. This potential family journey is fueled by a deep, aching desire to have the children spend precious time with their grandfather, King Charles, whose ongoing health battles have cast a somber shadow over the family's future. Harry has grown acutely aware of the fragility of life and the limited time left to heal these fractured familial bonds. However, this earnest desire for a grand family reconciliation is currently trapped in a complex and bitter deadlock with the British government over security arrangements. The Prince has been locked in a fierce legal battle with the UK Home Office regarding his right to taxpayer-funded, armed police protection while on British soil. Harry has repeatedly made it clear that he refuses to expose his wife and children to what he perceives as severe security risks without the guarantee of professional official protection. Despite optimistic reports earlier this year suggesting that a security compromise was merely a formality, the Duke's legal team has yet to receive any official confirmation or positive update from the Home Office. This administrative gridlock has created an insurmountable wall, leaving the travel plans for Meghan and the children completely up in the air and threatening to derail the family reunion entirely. To add to the palpable tension, the cold reality of Harry's isolation within his own family was made glaringly obvious during a recent high society royal event. This past weekend, the royal family gathered in full force to celebrate the wedding of Harry's cousin, Peter Phillips, to Harriet Sperling. The joyous ceremony was attended by a stellar lineup of senior royals, including King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William, Kate Middleton, Princess Beatrice, and a pregnant Princess Eugenie. Yet amid this grand display of family unity, Prince Harry was noticeably absent, with sources confirming that he was completely left off the guest list and treated as a persona non grata. This deliberate exclusion served as a harsh public reminder of the deep chasm that remains between the self-exiled prince and the rest of the royal establishment. While Harry remains optimistic that his father could personally step in and overrule the government's security decisions, palace insiders have pushed back hard against this notion. Sources emphasize that King Charles views the matter of state security as an entirely legislative issue handled by the Home Office, firmly believing it is not something for the monarch or his courtiers to manipulate. This hands-off approach has left Harry feeling increasingly abandoned by the institution he served for most of his life. Even if Harry manages to secure a private meeting with his father during his July visit, there is currently no agreed-upon time or official slot in the King's incredibly tight schedule for such an encounter. The relationship between father and son has been reduced to sporadic, brief interactions, with their last face-to-face meeting occurring nearly a year ago in September when they shared a remarkably brief afternoon tea in London. The emotional distance between them seems to grow wider with each passing month, compounded by years of public allegations, media interviews, and deeply personal grievances that have shattered the foundation of trust that once held them together. Despite Harry's recent public statements expressing that he has forgiven his family and wishes to end the exhausting feud, the path to a genuine resolution remains fraught with immense difficulty. The royal family is an institution built on absolute loyalty and discretion, and the repeated breaches of that discretion have left deep scars that cannot be easily healed by words alone. As the clock ticks down to his arrival, the intense public focus shifts to how these unresolved issues will play out on the streets of London and Birmingham, and whether a breakthrough is even remotely possible in the current climate of mutual distrust. The contrast between the two brothers, William and Harry, has never been sharper or more devastating. Once viewed as an inseparable duo who supported each other through the ultimate tragedy of losing their mother, they now occupy completely different worlds, both geographically and emotionally. The lack of communication between them is staggering, with sources confirming they have not spoken or seen each other in person since the solemn state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. The older brother, Prince William, who is carrying an immense burden as the heir to the throne and supporting his wife through her own health challenges, remains deeply hurt and furious over the explosive revelations contained in Harry's memoir. The book's detailed descriptions of private family altercations and its critical commentary on senior family members are viewed by William as an unforgivable betrayal of family confidence. The anger is so profound that palace insiders see absolutely no chance of a meeting between the brothers during the July trip, as William has firmly closed the door on any interaction. This rigid stance highlights the immense difficulty of finding a resolution when the parties involved are no longer even willing to engage in basic communication. The narrative has become a complex chess game of public relations, personal pride, and institutional survival, with each side convinced of their own righteousness. The public, meanwhile, watches with a mix of fascination and sadness as a once close family remains fractured before the eyes of the world. The logistical preparations for the Invictus Games countdown will continue, but the true drama will undoubtedly happen behind the scenes, where the unresolved questions of security, status, and forgiveness will dictate the future of the House of Windsor. Harry's journey is lonely, caught between his new life in California and the heavy history of his homeland, a place that feels less like home with each passing visit. The tragedy of the situation lies in the fact that both sides seem to want a resolution, yet neither is willing to make the first significant concession to break the icy silence. The upcoming weeks will test the limits of royal diplomacy and personal endurance, revealing whether the bonds of blood are strong enough to overcome the heavy weight of public betrayal and institutional pride. The deep emotional rift between Prince Harry and the royal family is further complicated by the positions of the spouses and the innocent children caught in this crossfire of history. For Meghan Markle, a return to the United Kingdom carries immense psychological weight, as she has not set foot on British soil since the state funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. Her time within the palace walls was marked by intense public scrutiny and deeply personal struggles, which she later detailed in high-profile interviews, describing feelings of severe isolation and an absolute lack of institutional support. These painful experiences have made her highly reluctant to return to an environment where she feels unwelcome and unprotected. The couple's children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet, are growing up completely separated from their royal heritage in the sun-drenched enclave of Montecito, California. Archie was merely an infant when his parents made the monumental decision to step back from senior royal duties, leaving him with no real memory of his birthplace. His younger sister, Lilibet, has only visited her father's homeland once, during the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebrations, meaning both children have had virtually no opportunity to bond with their grandfather, King Charles, or their British cousins. This profound generational disconnect is something Prince Harry is reportedly desperate to correct before the passage of time makes it entirely impossible. The king, who has expressed a natural grandfatherly desire to be a part of his grandchildren's lives, finds himself constrained by the rigid protocols of his position and the ongoing family hostility. The situation highlights a tragic paradox where the head of an ancient monarchy, possessing vast symbolic power, is unable to easily facilitate a simple family visit due to the complex web of security, public opinion, and unresolved emotional grievances. The biographies of the central figures in this drama reveal how deeply rooted these conflicts truly are, stemming from decades of differing expectations and the unique pressures of royal life. Prince Harry, born as the younger son of the Prince and Princess of Wales, spent his entire life navigating the difficult role of the supporting sibling within a highly structured hierarchy. His military service, including 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan, provided him with a sense of purpose and a deep connection to the veteran community, which eventually inspired him to create the Invictus Games. This international sporting event for wounded, injured, and sick servicemen and women has become his defining professional legacy, a testament to his commitment to public service outside the traditional royal framework. However, his decision to publish a deeply personal memoir and participate in revealing documentary series shattered his relationships with those he left behind. His brother, Prince William, has lived a life defined by the absolute certainty of his future role as monarch, a destiny that demands total devotion to the institution and a strict adherence to the code of royal discretion. William's anger toward Harry is not merely personal, it is institutional, driven by a profound sense that his brother prioritized personal grievances over the stability and dignity of the monarchy itself. The Duchess of Sussex, entering the royal family as an accomplished American actress with her own established career and independent worldview, struggled to adapt to the unspoken rules and rigid expectations of palace life. The resulting clash of cultures and philosophies created a toxic environment that ultimately led to the historic split that continues to dominate international headlines. Beyond the immediate family, the broader circle of the British aristocracy theme continues to move forward, highlighting Harry's growing isolation from the social world he once inhabited. The recent wedding of Peter Phillips, the son of Princess Anne and the eldest grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II, served as a perfect example of this dynamic. Peter Phillips has always maintained a relatively low profile, pursuing a career in sports management while supporting his family at major state occasions. His wedding to Harriet Sperling was a joyful gathering that brought together the senior leadership of the royal family, reinforcing their collective solidarity. The presence of figures like Princess Beatrice and a pregnant Princess Eugenie, who have traditionally maintained warm relations with Harry, emphasized that even his closest childhood allies are firmly integrated into the palace ecosystem. Harry's complete absence from this family milestone underscored the reality that life in London continues without him, and the longer the separation lasts, the more normalized his exclusion becomes. The legal battles over security continue to serve as the practical roadblock, preventing any meaningful progress toward a family reunion. Harry's advocates argue that as a prince of the blood and a high-profile figure who faces documented security threats, he is entitled to official protection when visiting the United Kingdom. They maintain that relying on private security is legally and logistically insufficient in a country with strict firearms laws, making state cooperation absolutely essential for the safety of his family. On the other hand, representatives for the Home Office argue that taxpayer-funded police protection should be reserved for working members of the royal family who carry out official duties on behalf of the state. This debate touches on fundamental questions about the nature of royal status in the modern era and the responsibilities of the state toward non-working members of the ruling dynasty. As the summer deadline approaches, the impasse remains unresolved, leaving the prospects for a complete family visit highly unlikely. The tragedy of this ongoing feud lies in the profound human cost to all parties involved, as personal relationships are sacrificed at the altar of pride, protocol, and public relations. Prince Harry's recent statements, reflecting a desire for peace and a willingness to forgive, suggest an awareness of the heavy emotional burden this conflict places on his family. Yet, without active communication and a mutual willingness to compromise, these sentiments remain unfulfilled hopes rather than actionable steps toward healing. The story of the House of Windsor has always been one of survival through adaptation. But the current crisis represents a uniquely modern challenge, playing out in an era of instant global communication and intense celebrity culture. The upcoming Invictus Games in Birmingham will undoubtedly showcase Prince Harry's ability to inspire and lead on an international stage. But the true measure of his journey will be determined by what happens away from the cameras and the cheering crowds. Whether the fractured bonds of brotherhood and fatherhood can ever be restored remains one of